Right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, diviners. We'll be getting started here shortly. Just you guys can give me a screen check or anything I need to know. I'm testing the voice now. You can type it into the the feed here this morning. Okay, and we'll be getting started here in about 1 minute. Welcome all of you who are joining this morning. Good morning, Myrna. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Mom. And we probably have a number of people over on the YouTube channel. Just want to make sure you guys can hear and go ahead and type in your response, your salutation. Make sure we're getting some participation in the community this morning. Awesome. How's the weather wherever you are? Type that in there. Type the weather and your state, not necessarily the physical state, but if you're happy, if you're feeling melancholy, or what's your predominant feeling right now? Awesome. Good, 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 good. Yes, I want the participation this morning. All right. Good. Just I think I'm letting my screen up some here. 70 and great in Chicagoland. Awesome. It's nice here in St. Louis this morning. All right, go ahead and continue to drop your comments over there. And we're gonna get started in 30 seconds, giving everybody an opportunity to come on and get situated. Okay, good morning. Welcome to Serendipity Sunday. If this is your first time with us, warm and joyful welcomes to each of you. I'm Greg Stanton, also known as Asar. It is my absolute joy to guide you through this uplifting and meaningful time together each and every Sunday. Serendipity Sunday is a soul refreshing pause in the rhythm of our life. It's a chance for each of us to realign, reconnect, and rediscover the strengths and clarity that often gets buried beneath the noise of everyday life. Each week, we carve out this space right here to breathe deeply, reflect honestly, and to remind ourselves that even in between moments are full of powerful and purposeful opportunities. Whether you're navigating change, looking for direction, or just craving something different or deeper, perhaps, you belong here. You're right where you need to be. You're in the right place. And I'm glad that you're here. So, thank you for bringing your presence and energy into this space today. Let's make the most of this brief time that we have together. Let's begin with a word of prayer this morning. So, right where you are, take a big breath in, focus. Holy presence, we thank you for this moment. This quiet pause in our stories, we gather as a community, not to rush to the next chapter, but to dwell in the sacredness of the in between. As we sit together this morning in this neutral space, may we feel your nearness, your wisdom, your gentle unfolding. Open our hearts to clarify, to clarity, to comfort, and connection. Remind us that even in the unknown, we are being shaped. We release the need to know. We welcome the mystery of just the presence. Amen. Okay, today's message is entitled The Space Between Stories. We all are living stories. Some of our stories are just beginning, some of our stories are ending. So, the space between stories, embracing the neutral zone. So this morning, think about it. Have you ever been in a moment or even a season where something had ended, but nothing new had quite begun? Maybe you felt disoriented, disconnected, or like you were floating between two versions of yourself. You were likely in what William Bridges calls the neutral zone. William Bridges is one of my favorite authors that I refer to when we're dealing with transitions with my clients. I recommend that they read it. And he talks about the neutral zone. And for many of us, we've lived in that space without ever having a name for it. But today we're going to name it, understand it, and embrace its sacred role in our growth. In this inspired work of William Bridges, the book Transitions, he describes every transition, whether personal, spiritual, or professional, as having three phases to them. And those phases, an ending, a neutral zone, and a new beginning. We think we go from an ending to a new beginning, but there's a necessary place in between the ending and the beginning. This is the core of William Bridges' theory on transition. He teaches that change isn't just about what happens externally, it's about what shifts internally. Every meaningful transition begins with an ending, followed by a confusing but necessary in between period, which he calls the neutral zone. And finally, there's the new beginning that emerges, which all of us look for. So today's message focuses on that often overlooked middle space, the neutral zone. It's the place between what was and what's next, where growth, identity shifts, and deep renewal quietly takes place. Most people desire to rush through that. Most people desire to rush through this middle. We don't like the uncertainty, the stillness, the ambiguity. But Bridges tells us that the neutral zone teaches us where the real work of transformation happens. He writes, the neutral zone is the winter in which the spring of new beginnings is incubating. Think about that. Let that land. The neutral zone is the winter in which the spring of new beginnings is incubating. The neutral zone is where you feel like nothing is certain anymore. It's where old roles, identities, and routines no longer fit. But the new ones haven't arrived yet. William, he talks about, or he describes the neutral zone as a space marked by ambiguity, confusion, and even a sense of loss. You may feel emotionally foggy or spiritually dry or uncertain about who you're becoming or what's really going on. What once brought you stability no longer feels right. This is the neutral zone. And yet, what's next hasn't revealed itself. It can feel like floating in limbo, uh, but this phase is not empty, it's deeply generative. It's a phase where often people will say there's a denial or it's just a delay. But it's a time when our outer life may appear paused, but our inner life is undergoing quiet reconstruction. This is the cocoon stage where the old self dissolves so that something new, more aligned, can emerge in our lives. So if you've recently experienced a loss, a job change, a shift in faith, or simply a season where you feel adrift, that's not failure. It's transition. That's a sacred space, a sacred pause. The neutral zone isn't just where things appear to or be falling apart, it's where things fall in place. Spiritually, this is a time of deconstruction and reconstruction. If we rush through it, we risk rebuilding our lives on the patterns we weren't meant to release. We were meant to release. We weren't meant to hold on to that old belief or that old thing or that old person. But when we stay present in it, what is the it? This neutral zone? It becomes the birthplace of clarity, strength, and even a new identity. Exodus chapter 13 is a good story to reread because it explicitly shows us the concept of endings, neutral zone, and new beginnings. When I look at Exodus 13, it reminds me that Source did not lead the Israelites on the shortest path to freedom. Okay, and it really wasn't Source. They did not choose, they chose to take the long path versus the short path. And a lot of it had to do with trust, a lot of it had to do with um, an opportunity to identify where they really were. So when I look at Exodus 13, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. They weren't prepared for it. So God led the people around by the way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Sometimes it's the longer path, known as the wilderness, is the one that really forms us. So in this between space, we are invited to stop striving, stop struggling, and to start listening. Not even to start creating. It's so easy to try to catapult yourself out of or over the neutral zone by creating something new. But Psalms 46 and 10 is where we should hang our hats this morning. This Psalms tells us, be still and know that I am God. Not just know the God that's out there, the macro God, but the micro essence of you are a God. Metaphysically, this verse invites each of us to move beyond our outer conditions and into a inner awareness. The command to be still is more than physical stillness. It's a spiritual surrender, a release of your ego-driven striving or struggle. In the context of the neutral zone, this stillness becomes a gateway to divine consciousness, awareness. When we let go of needing answers and outcomes because we are uncomfortable, we make space for the deeper knowing, what I call the God essence within, to rise to the surface. It is in this sacred space, this sacred quietness, that we realign with divine order. And remember that even in chaos, spirit is present, guiding and unfolding purpose. So you may ask, so how do we navigate this neutral zone? Now, Bridges gives us some suggestions. First, he says, let go of the need for quick solutions. How many of you usually lean into that? You want a quick solution. Go ahead and type quick solution in. So you got to let go of the idea of the need for a quick solution. And here's what that really looks like. When we're in the neutral zone, it's natural to want to fix things or move forward quickly. But this space isn't a problem to solve. It's a process to live through, to go through, to grow through. Letting go of the need for quick solutions, it invites each of us to stop grasping and start trusting. It asks us to sit in the unknown long enough for the deeper work to unfold. He also talks about spending time in reflection or prayer or just solitude. These practices are really key to holding steady in the unknown. Reflection allows us to notice what's unraveling and what might be emerging. Prayer, on the other hand, connects us to, or that conversation connects us to the divine wisdom and reminds us we're not alone because we're having that conversation. And solitude, just being quiet, creates a space for clarity to rise above all the noise that around you. So in the stillness, the soul begins to speak. Source can be heard. He also talks about allowing creative expression or journaling to help you through this shift. Because sometimes what we can't articulate in thoughts, we can express through art, movement, or writing. These practices give form to what's stirring beneath the surface. I like journaling. Journaling, in particular, helps to translate emotional fog into insight. And creativity allows the subconscious to speak in symbols and stories. Okay, this creative expression isn't about producing something. It's about releasing something. And lastly, he suggests hold your identity loosely. Now, listen to this. Hold your identity loosely, trusting something new is forming. In the neutral zone, the self you once knew may feel uncertain or incomplete. But instead of clinging to the old roles, old definitions, he encourages us to allow space for the next version of ourselves to emerge. It's a time to loosen the grip on what we think we should be and stay open to who we're becoming. This posture of surrender makes room for transformation. And that's important. Holding on to your old identity gets in the way often for your new beginning. It's like bringing baggage onto a trip that you don't need. So rather than striving to exit the discomfort that comes with the neutral zone, I want to invite each of you to remain present to it, not as a punishment, not as a denial, not even as a delay, but as preparation. So I invite you to pause even right now. I want you to ask yourself, what story has recently ended in my life? Or what story do I believe is ending? What space are you being invited to sit in, to dwell in without rushing? Think about it. So, to help you ground this, here are some common examples of what neutral zone might look like and has looked like in the life of some of my clients. One, the quiet confusion after a job or role has ended, but before a new direction is clear. Automatically, they want to rush into getting clear on what's the next because they're uncomfortable with the quiet confusion that they're in because the role has ended, the job has ended, the relationship has ended. Another is the emotional or spiritual limbo following the end of a significant relationship. That in between space that a lot of people rush into another relationship only to attract the same relationship when in because that's the vibrational frequency that they're operating in. Even though it may look different, at the end of the day, it's going to be the same. Another example is the inward disorientation that comes after a long held belief or identity begins to shift. And most of you who are in this conversation today can resonate with that one because we've experienced that cognitive dissonance that comes with letting go of what has been given to us in the way of our religious or spiritual beliefs. And so we're in that place of disorientation. And for many, they go back. They go back. They're like the children of Israel because they were in a new place. Even though they were told, hey, there are giants in the land. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. It's a land of prosperity, but there's giants in the land. And the but reminded them of who they had been, not divine spiritual beings, but those who were captive and dependent upon the culture that they were in. So if you feel led, I want you to type a single word in the chat that captures your space right now in relationship to this conversation. For example, might type, I feel somewhat unsettled. There's a number of things going on in my life, transitions in my life, and I'm in a neutral zone and I feel unsettled. That for me, that's the feeling of being between what's ending and what has begun yet. And you could be in it for a long time. They were in it for 40 years. I feel that way when it comes to ministry. I feel like it's been 40 years wandering around the wilderness. And if I think of it like that, I will throw in the towel. But each day when I rise with mercies anew, I think this might be just be the day. I think this might be that message that is goes viral or and viral from the perspective of it wakes up those who are sleeping. It reaches those who are seeking. So you have to be still inside of the weight. Don't buckle under the weight, the heaviness of the weight. You got to be open to what spirit might be unfolding in the next. Okay. And that's for that person that may say, I'm open. Okay. So you may say, I'm settled in I'm unsettled in something, or you may say, I'm open right now. You understand that you're in that transition. So I want you to use whatever word feels honest and true for you in this moment. Remember, this is a safe community, not a judging community. It's a community where all of us are here in a common space, but each one of us are in a personal space. So sometime this week, maybe you can journal or simply sit with that question. If you feel led, again, go ahead and type a single word in the chat that captures your space right now. Thank you. I'll give those of you who are doing that a couple seconds to do that. Now, let me share a simple example with you all. Years ago, I left a role that had given me a sense of identity and stability. But once it ended, I entered to a long stretch of uncertainty. What I now understand as a neutral zone when I reflect back on it. At first, I tried to fill it with plans and pressure, but eventually I slowed down. In that stillness, I accepted it. Something deeper began to emerge. It was a calling that hadn't had space to speak before because I was so busy in the old, running from this to that. That's what this time can do. It doesn't just heal you because many of you are not broken, but it reveals to you. So this morning, I've covered a lot, and I recommend that you get the chance you grab that book. Before we close, let's take a moment to name this shift because even the neutral zone, as long as it can feel, it isn't forever. So, how do you know when it's ending? That's a good question that some of you may have. Bridges in his book offers a few signs. First, you begin to feel a quiet energy returning. Even if it's small, you just sense something's in the air. Or a new idea may just pop up. Relationship or possibility sparks your interest all of a sudden. And it feels different. It doesn't feel like this is something you concocted or you try to conjure up, but it just shows up You might be sitting in the stillness. You might wake up. You may dream a dream. Or you feel less attached to what ended and you're okay with it and more open to what's ahead. So you're looking forward versus looking back. Your constant reflection isn't about what has been, but it's about the possibility of what could be. You begin to imagine or desire again. So you begin to move out of the state of what has been into a state of possibilities. These are what I like to call sacred signals. They don't mean you need to sprint into action, okay? But they do mean new beginnings is near. Notice it. I want you to honor it. Be gentle with it. Now, we are at that place. This is 2025. For most of you who are not aware of this, you say you got 4 months until the new year, or what is this, 3 months till the new year. Well, that is right. In the Gregorian calendar, you have 3 months to go. But things are spiritual before natural. So, like that, we can understand that September represents a time of renewal, a new time, a new year, a new spiritual year. So spiritually, we are in 2026 effectively right now. And what that means to us is when we look at the spiritual numerology, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 0 is 2, plus 2 it gives you 4, plus 6 gives you 10, which is the 2026. And we know that we have to reduce it to 10 to a 1. And so we are in a going into a 1 year cycle. And the cycle is 9 years at a time. And so something has ended. Something is complete. Nine is completion. This year, 2025, was the year of completions. So for the many of you, things may have felt like they fell apart. Things are falling apart. And for some of you, things have yet to fall because you're still holding them tightly together. Let go. Let things fall. The more things fall apart, the more things come together. So I want you to know that. So as you wrap up the 2025 physical year, start accepting the completions. Start realizing that this is no longer just an ending. An ending is something that, oh, it ends now, but it can pick back up. But a completion says there is an ending and it's over. It's complete. So as we move towards today's closing, I want to leave you with a few key takeaways that you can carry with you this week. Three of them. First, the neutral zone is not a mistake. Say that with me. The neutral zone is not a mistake. I want you to know that it's an essential part of every transition. Matter of fact, it's an essential part of transformation, spiritually and practically. Secondly, you're not meant to rush through it. Say that with me. I'm not meant to rush through it. This is a space where deep change and divine alignment are born. And the third thing I want to say to you in closing is your new beginning is coming. I want you to say, my new beginning is coming. Okay? Now know this. It won't be built from your past. It will rise from the deeper self of being revealed, the deeper self that's being revealed to you now. It will rise from possibility. And now I want to offer a final word of encouragement. When you look in Isaiah 43 and 19, it reads, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Do you not perceive it? Often the new thing is already beginning, even when we can't yet see it. That seed you sowed yesterday is growing already, but you can't see it. You may have sown it 6 weeks ago, but you can't see it. There's some seeds that you've sown so deeply and they're growing, but you can't see it. The soil looks barren before the seed breaks through. That doesn't mean growth isn't happening. It means it's happening underground. You're not lost. You're in the neutral zone. You are being reformed. And if you're sensing that your neutral zone may be drawn to a close, take one small step, not to escape the discomfort, but to respond to the emergence. Maybe it's a conversation, a journal entry, a prayer of readiness, a gratitude for what has been. Trust that you'll know when it's time, not because you're forcing clarity, but because it begins to gently call you forward. So before we close, I want to take a moment of gratitude. Gratitude for your presence, your spirit, and the way you show up in this space called life. If today's message has spoken to you, if this sacred pause has met you where you are, made sense of what you're growing through, what you're going through, I invite you to consider supporting the ongoing work of Serendipity Sunday here at the Oasis Spiritual Center. This isn't just about sustaining a service. It's about sustaining a sacred space, a community where transformation, healing, and spiritual alignment happens week after week, Sunday after Sunday. Okay? So you can give via, or you can sow, intentionally and deliberately sow via Zelle or Cash App. And the number you can use is 708-368-1076. Now, I'm not going to rush through the portal of prosperity that is open. You may say, why do you call it a portal of prosperity? Because the word says, sow or give, and it shall be given to you. But you have to be careful where you give. Like if you sow your seed in a place that is not fertile, then the seed that lies dormant. But if you sow your seed into a place that has value, then your seeds begin to grow. That's why you keep coming back. And some of you say, I keep coming back and I enjoy it, but you've yet to sow a seed. Consider sowing a seed into this ministry. And you can do it again by Zelle or Cash App at 708-368-1076. The seed I sow causes me to grow. So thank you truly for co-creating this space with your presence and your generosity. And I want to thank those who don't wait till Sunday to give, but there's some of you who give consistently throughout the week, or it's not just a one-time offering. Some give once a month, and I welcome, but I most of all want you to give as the Spirit guides and in the amount that the Spirit guides you to. So before we go, I want to encourage you to return to this message throughout your week. These truths often take time to settle in. Revisiting this replay, sit with it with your journal, let the deeper layers rise. And now receive this closing blessing this morning. May you find peace in the pause and trust in the unseen. Let us pray. Divine presence, as we return to our day and to our lives, let us carry the peace of this moment with us. May we move gently through uncertainty, rooted in trust. May we honor the in between, knowing it's not empty, it's holy, it's sacred. Guide us as we release what was, embrace what is, and open to what will be. We walk forward not with all the answers, but with the anchored heart. And for that we give thanks. And so it is. Ashe. Amen. Before we fully close, if you're here this morning with us in the Zoom sanctuary, I've warmly invite each of you to join me for our green room conversation. This is a relaxed, off the record space where we come together heart to heart to reflect, ask questions, and share what's stirring in us after the message. Whether you're holding a word that came up during the reflection, an insight you wanted to explore a little further, or even just a sense of, I'm not sure what I'm feeling yet. This space is where all that is welcome. So go ahead, grab a cup of tea or refill your beverage and come back and be seated. And we will take a few moments to breathe together, build connection, and continue the conversation in community. And if you're not staying for the green room, thank you again for being here this morning. May the peace and wisdom of this sacred pause stay with you throughout your week. We'll see you next Sunday, same time, same space, for another moment of reflection, connection, and spiritual renewal. Until then, be well and walk gently. Thank you. All right, we're gonna move into the green room here shortly. Let me go ahead and close off some things. I want to thank those who have joined me by way of YouTube this morning. I'm not able to see the chat. If you want to participate in the green room as days go and the weeks to come ahead, you can always just join the Zoom link, and the Zoom link will put you in the Zoom room. Okay, if you want to remain anonymous, you can continue to follow simply by showing up on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to be saying, I'm signing off to my YouTube channel. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and know something serendipitous is headed your way. So let me close that out.